All right, let me welcome you, Leonie, to Looking Back, Looking Forward. I
Thank
hope
you.
you're fine today. You're doing well.
Yes, I am.
Good to have you. And I'm looking
Thank
at your
you.
book here, Leonie, her autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
And this book, you said Leonie Forbes as told to Mervyn
Mervyn
Morris.
Morris, yes.
And there's some really beautiful pictures of you on the cover here. So
Okay.
in the time that we have, I want to explore who is Leonie Forbes, to hear some more about your career and how you got into acting
I will
and,
try my
uh, and,
best.
and so on.
I
But
will try
first,
my best.
let us hear a little bit about Leonie Forbes as a little girl. You're a St. Elizabeth girl, aren't you?
Well, my grandparents are from there, but I actually was born in Kingston.
Oh, you're born in Kingston.
Yes, please. At Jubilee, so I'm born under the clock.
And you were born downtown Kingston.
Yes, I'm very much a Kingstonian,
Very much a
but
Kingstonian.
with wonderful country connections, my grandparents and all that.
And where did you grow up in Kingston? Where did you go to school?
Well, first of all, I went to a number of little schools when I was sort of very young. I went to St. George's Girls' School, which some people don't know about, but it's on Duke Street.
Yes.
I also started out, I think the first school I went to was classes they had at St. Luke's Church in Crossroads.
Yes.
And then there was the nursery school part of micro-practicing. And then I had Kingston Senior School, and from there, Excelsior.
So when you were growing up now, did you have opportunities to show off your skills or to develop your skills?
Well, I
Or
didn't know that I had any, but one important things because in those days there wasn't a lot of cinema that we could take in, the
Yes.
movies. I think it was once or twice a year that the school went and you paid £6 for your ticket and you saw a nice movie and you enjoyed yourself for that day.
Mhm.
But I didn't have any idea then of what I was going to do or anything, so one didn't pay any particular attention. You did Sunday school performances or for church or for the Young People's Association or Young People's Fellowship. That sort of thing kept you occupied. At school too, there'd be productions and different things. So, I dabbled in a number of things because I like certain aspects of gymnastics. I did play netball, not so much volleyball, but netball. Softball, I wasn't any good. I could pitch, but I couldn't bat to save my life.
yes.
I left that alone. And in athletics, I was a long jumper.
Yes.
And for a time, I could manage the hurdles, but
Wow.
wasn't a good runner or anything. I mean, they met me do the second leg of the relay team and so. I didn't let them down badly, but certainly running was not my thing.
I see. So, I mean, like many of us, then you went to Sunday school and you perform in Christmas performances and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Yes, and that was the thing because there wasn't much else to do,
Yes.
you know.
And you didn't see a lot of movies and you didn't have TV at home and that sort
No,
of
no
stuff.
TV. You had radio, yes,
Yeah.
but absolutely no TV. And like I say, maybe if you went to the cinema 3 or 4 times for the year was plenty.
Plenty. And I'm sure you love to listen to the radio programs because they used to have some radio programs, right?
Oh yes, nice radio programs. You got used to certain voices, and they had like RJR.
Mm-hmm.
At the time it was Radio Jamaica Rediffusion.
Rediffusion,
And they
yes.
would have children's contests on the weekend where you sing or recite or, got together and you met other children and you could sort of talk with them and so on. And the parents would allow you to do that.
Yes.
Because chances are you might be heard on the air singing or reciting.
So let us fast forward then. You've gone to Excelsior and so on, and you're about to leave Excelsior. When did the recognition come your way as a young girl who had talent?
Well, quite a few years after that, when while at the university, the folks I met, for instance, Sir Philip Sherlock, Mr. Hugh Morrison, Errol Hill, and these people, and then the records, both Lloyd and Barry record, and the interest developed.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was getting all involved in radio too. Mr. Kerry Robinson for the Jamaica Information Service would give me little roles in programs and things like that. and started that. And then Lord Record suggested that I audition for the pantomime. I'd done something with him and had to fill in at the last minute as leading lady, and he seemed to have been satisfied and so on. But then he said audition for the pantomime, and I think it could have kicked off then, because you're working with folks like Miss Lou and Mas Ran and Charlie Hyatt and all of that. I mean, you're aspiring very highly, great aspirations and so on, but still not thinking of myself as a actor.
Yes.
For the rest of my life. But I just know I enjoy this, and I like making people laugh and making them feel good and feel better, or put it simply, forget about their daily worries just for a little while. I knew there was something about that I liked, that attracted me. And also it helped in my own life, because if your parents or the people around you pleased with you and so on, they're less likely to cuff you.
Yes. So you were fortunate at the time then to have been around these talented, artistic people and so on.
Extremely fortunate, and at this stage of life I'm using a better word, which is blessed, not just luck.
Yes.
I think the Lord had a hand in it, somehow, somewhere, sometime. And what happened was, from the folks I had met and listened to and admired and so on, you just have to keep applying yourself to the telly, and when you get opportunities, grasp them.
Yes.
You don't just toss them aside or think, me can't bother. You try. You have to try.
So these people would kind of mentor you and create opportunities for you and
I would say
and so
yes,
on.
although at the time we never thought of it like that, because when Mr. Sherlock handed me a paper one afternoon, I was working as a typist in his office, and he said, read this, and I read it. Someone had been late for a recording, for a program,
Yes.
and he said, read it, I read it, and he said, get in the car. And that started the broadcasting thing. And then later on now you do other series for the Caribbean. Like with the Waves West Indies Broadcasting Service, we do programs for them and other places. And I would get little roles to play with Mr. Morrison. Did a series of 12 programs, Spanish by air or Spanish on radio. And I was his niece Lolita. So it was fabulous. I love that. And the other day somebody played a little snippet, and I could not believe that was me. It was fascinating.
Yes.
But like you say, my good fortune was to meet wonderfully talented and generous people, because they gave, they never stinted. They would explain things and encourage you and tell you what to try. Mas Ran would do that in the pantomime. So would Miss Lou, Lois Kelly Miller, those people. And so I thought, well, these people are fabulous. People pay money to come and see them, so it can't do me any harm to listen to them and maybe try and follow what they do,
So at this stage in your life then, you didn't have any formal acting training, but you learned along the way by practice.
No, and I'll give you a joke. I mean, I can laugh about it now. At the time I was very upset. But when I sort of developed this feeling, I thought I would like to do this thing properly, not bother about being secretary or any of that. And my mother got wind of it. She wasn't thrilled at all. She said, who can learn anything from acting? That's something you do for fun, to entertain at Sunday school or something. So she let everybody know that if I'm stubborn enough to insist on that, then she still would not let me go completely. She would contribute her little thing, which was a handcart and food, because that must be what I'm going to do. You understand? So, and I didn't give up. It didn't turn me off. I know what I didn't want to be,
Yes.
but what I wanted to be or what I should be grew on me for quite a little while.
So by the time you're ready to leave Jamaica now, I guess you've done a little acting, you've done a little radio and so on, right?
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of radio acting and nice theatre work and so on. And the reason I could leave the island was because the gentleman who came from the BBC to set up JBC, that was brand new at the time, JBC Radio Theatre, or put drama on radio. When he was ready to return to England, he said, I should really get some training. And I smiled to myself and said, train to do what? So he said, come, you're going to do an audition. And we went to sing and chose some pieces, Caribbean plays, I think one Jamaican piece and piece of Shakespeare and something else. and it was recorded by Cecil Watt, rest his soul, a wonderful technical person. And he recorded that, and then the gentleman, whose name was Robin Midgley, he said, please go get some photographs done. And I went to a lady and she took some photographs, and he took the tape and the photographs back to England with him. And I thought, well, that's the end of that. That was nice of him to, sort of make me feel good.
Yes.
But I really didn't expect anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few months later, when I had actually now changed my working position, I was no longer a secretary at the radio education unit. I was an announcer at the JBC. I was on air the day when the letter arrived from the Royal Academy to let me know and congratulate me that I had been awarded a scholarship.
All
So
right.
that was why I left. Why I could leave, otherwise I couldn't go. I didn't know anything about it.
So what year was this? What year was this?
I left Jamaica in 61.
In 1961. So you go
Yeah.
off to England the
No,
first
sorry,
time you were
not
traveling.
61. 60. Before that. All right, let me put this right now. When I went to the JBC 1960,
Yes.
right? And so it was very early 61 that this came.
Very early
And
61.
I left for England about May 61 or something like that.
Okay, so you're going directly to England, directly to
Yes.
the BBC to go and
No,
study.
not BBC, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art.
Royal Academy. And you're
Yes.
going there now to go study to become a big-time actress and
No,
so
I
on
don't
and
know
so
about the
forth.
big time, but you go and learn about the craft. And learn as much as you can about what you have chosen to do, and that they thought it was a good choice because
Yes.
they thought I had something in that direction.
And what was your experience? How would you summarize your experience there?
Extraordinary.
Yes?
Because first learning to live and move around and associate and talk with people who were not like me. I was
Yes.
not like them either. We sounded different, we looked different and all of that. That for a start, and then fitting into the school family, so to speak, the academy family. All those things were fascinating, and then there were some of my Jamaican friends up there. Charlie was up there, Carl Binger was there, Trevor Rohn was already at Rose Bruford. So you make contact and you encourage and support one another. And one thing led to another, because the principal of RADA, as they call it, he saw that there weren't many substantial roles for black actors.
Mm-hmm.
So that if something came up, either he would recommend me for it, or if I'd been recommended by somebody else, or won a place on my own, I would get permission from the school to go and do this thing, which adds to your experience and all of that. So I was, as I say, no, I don't say just lucky anymore. I think just absolutely blessed. The Lord was smiling on me.
Yes. And how many years did you spend in England?
I spent 5 years there. The RADA course, diploma course, is 2 years.
Yes.
And I worked with the BBC and other TV people, radio people, did series for the BBC for Africa and the Caribbean and South America and all this business. So I had a chance to practice the craft, and put it that way. And again, Lord put me in my first professional production off the West End, a thing called Double Entry. And I got very good reviews, and the tutors at the academy were very pleased. And some of them, it's as if because of that, they put a little extra in my corner
Yes.
and would advise and counsel and encourage and all of that. So it was a tremendous experience.
So you did plays and you were on radio. Were you producing your own material, or were you just learning the craft of...
No, not producing my own material. In that, if I got a little program to do for the BBC and they want to know about Easter in Jamaica or the Caribbean or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, yes.
But not to do other scripts. Those were all ready, because I also did, I think you might like this, I did a series for the BBC that was for Africa and the Caribbean, and I played a little boy.
Oh.
A 12-year-old boy. And you see, when the overall producer, or the executive producer, came to the set when we were nearly finished recording the series, and Jeremy Verity, a Jamaican radio
Yes.
personality and everything, he was then in charge of that department, and it was he who invited me. So when the executive producer came to the studio and said he wants to meet this little boy because they were enjoying the programs and people had been saying they were good. And when Jeremy opened the mic and said, Leonie or producer is here and would like to meet you. Would you come in, please?" And the gentleman saw me. He turned every shade of red and purple and thing. Because not only was it a girl, but I was very much pregnant, like about 5 months or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, he almost gagged, but then he got over it, and he was very nice and very kind and said how pleased they were with the series and so on.
So who was the love of your life then?
Oh, me no, I can't tell you that now. You have to wait until I'm ready to depart, and I will tell you who was. But I care a lot about a lot of people, a few people.
Yes. No, because you said you were pregnant, so, I...
well, that. Oh, yes. We were married. A Jamaican gentleman, young gentleman, he was there on scholarship to do veterinary medicine.
Yes.
And we were expecting our first child.
Okay. So did you come back together?
Yes, we did. Well, I graduated before his course was finished.
Yes.
And he said to me that if I go back to Jamaica, I'm going to marry somebody else. So just hang on there because he wants to marry me.
I see.
We just hung out until he graduated. At least we did get married as soon as I was free to do so.
Yes.
And that was nice. We enjoyed it. We did some traveling together and kept our Jamaican friends close, I think. One of the things I used to love to do was to make Jamaican bun.
Yes, yes.
And patty.
Uh-huh.
And Charlie's wife was great in that because in case I think I could get away, the phone would ring and she said, "Lee, when will the patties be ready today or is bun?" So it was nice fun. I had a really good time.
Okay.
I could appreciate all those contacts.
So after now, your stint in England is over. You're coming back to Jamaica now. What are your goals now? What are your plans?
I don't even think I made any plans. I came right back to the JBC.
Yes.
And went back on air.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, by then they had television. So in a little while, I transferred. Went into television to present, to read news, to package programs and all this kind of thing. It was very exciting, I thought.
Yes.
And we would sort of even once a week or once a fortnight, but the least would be once a month. We'd get into a car with tapes and everything and do one section of the island, and the following time we do another. I even met two very senior citizens who lived in Spanish Town who could remember when the old King's House burned down, and they remember when the color ship had to dock off slightly off the coast there of Jamaica, when the first seaplane landed out by Rockfort, and I've got all that on tape. It was really fascinating.
So, did you feel like a pioneer? Did you know that you were a pioneer? Because
No,
that was...
sir. I never think of myself as those things. A job is to be done. I am lucky enough to get it. I'm going to do my best, and that is it. I never thought about tomorrow in terms of what it would mean or anything. I was enjoying what I was doing. I realized that it was helpful, and some of it was necessary. So I just did.
Yes.
It was not a matter of being a pioneer or anything. All I know was that I was so proud of how Miss Lou had treated our language and how she had lifted it up, raised the bar pretty high and so on. So I would be careful about things like that. But other than that, I never thought of tomorrow, if you know what I mean.
But no, when you look back then, though, but do you see yourself as a pioneer? Because that was the early days of JBC and so on. You played a seminal role.
Yes, I know all of that, but there were many people there with me and many people before me.
Yes.
I mean, Easton Lee was already in the business. Now he's Reverend Easton Lee. That's different. Erica Allen, fabulous now. She runs classes and things for UWI. And then there was Alma Matien. So, I mean, I just soaked up these people, and I couldn't put myself with these people. They have achieved. They're wonderful.
Yes.
And I can learn from them. So I would soak up whatever they had to offer. And like I said, all the folks, they were extremely generous of spirit, big hearts.
Yes.
And decided, they would get, not just me, but there were some other folks as well. So I didn't have any reason or any justification for making myself feel nice about that as if nobody else would achieve it.
Yes.
That's not me. I didn't see it like that.
Well, I'm a little younger than you, and I remember
You're
as a little
plenty younger
boy.
than me, about little younger than you know how many play seasons I've seen.
I'm a little younger than you, but I'm a little, in high school and stuff, seeing you on television and wow, admiring you. What a nice voice you have and personality and that sort
Bless
of
your
thing.
heart.
But
Bless you. I enjoyed it. Put it that way.
but it wasn't until I'm trying to remember now when let us say you bust out then because there was some plays, some Trevor Rowan plays. Would you
Yes,
say that
old
this is
story
when you
time.
really bust out?
Old story time. That
Yes,
after old story time, there was no question that I was in the right profession
yes,
and that I had something to offer. All I had to do was work hard and maintain standards and so on. But
yes,
old story time, and shortly after came the rope and the cross,
yes,
and those two plays for Jamaica. I mean, because we went all around the country with the rope and the cross at churches,
yes.
start out at Easter time and would run until August or September, and every year for a number of years we did that. And Old Story Time had hundreds of performances, some abroad, and I would travel with it and so on. So it was,
And what would you say it was about Old Story Time, for example, that made it such a big hit? What was so special about it?
because it was so real.
Yes,
It could fit into any society, anywhere in the world. And let us start with our Jamaican people. They know the Miss Aggies of this world. Most of us grew up with one of them in our lives.
yes.
Anything black no good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what because why she wanted the brown skinned girl with the long pretty hair and that sort of thing. Everybody could understand her,
Yes.
could relate to her. The relationship between herself and Pa Ben,
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to bring up her one son and she wants the best for him. Yet she never understood when they ragged him at school. They would tease him and carry on and so on. But he kept to it, and eventually I think he won a scholarship and went abroad and came back as something. So that in itself for her was absolutely wonderful. And then him go and marry this black girl. He must be mad. So she had to resort to what she knew, which
Yes.
was Obia.
Uh-huh.
And what I loved about the play is that in the end you realize that don't make no sense. Don't do that. That's not for real. Love and love and love and the people in your life and how you treat them and how you relate to them. So when the boomerang hit her, they were all around her to save her, if you understand what I'm
Yes,
saying.
yes, yes.
That was
And,
a fabulous thing.
and then you made a transition to, you did some films as well. How was that transition and which one stands out for you?
Um, and I enjoy filming because you get a chance to perfect each moment according to how they do it. But I still think theater comes first.
Yeah, you prefer theater. Yes.
Yes, I have a love for theater because the contact and being able to pick up the vibes from the people watching, you can hear what they're saying, how they're responding, how they're reacting. I absolutely thrive on that. I enjoy television work, whether it's a play or it's doing the news or anything. That's wonderful, that's fine. Film, when you get a role, is thing, but film is excessively demanding because you're not going in sequence. They can start anywhere in the piece.
So it's more
You can go to
challenging.
the end. It's much more challenging in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But each area has its own strong point and something that might frighten me and so on. Because I still have a very strong affection, an abiding affection for radio because you only have your voice to use to create pictures for people, to make them feel comfortable, make them want to listen more and that. And one of my tutors at RADA, she struck me forcefully in what she could do with her voice, and she introduced me in a sense to the music of the speaking voice.
Okay.
And I fell in love with that and decided I would always do my best to do that.
Yes.
So and everything adds up.
Yes. Absolutely. And just coming back to the film thing again, though, you were in a few fairly successful Jamaican films. I can't remember the names of them now.
The most outstanding one there would be Children of Babylon.
Children of Babylon, yes.
Yes, that role was fantastically challenging because Dorcas, the character I played, never utters a word.
Yes.
And it's not because she's dumb. it was just showing you what how society can treat some people, or what happens when you're on the periphery of the society, so to speak. And that was really a challenge. I did enjoy it, although I was terrified and was fretful that I wouldn't give Mr. Littlewhite what he needed for his film, but then he said otherwise. He said no, he was pleased.
Yes.
So I love that. And other roles, doing other things, television, plays, and so on. You enjoy them and you do your very best.
Yes. I do remember one particular scene from that Children of Babylon movie. I'm being naughty here, but it was a scene where you're outside the door, some lovemaking going on outside there, and you were turned on.
Yes, I remember it very well. That was my most terrifying moment. But I never thought I could achieve anything like that or make it convincing or believable, because anyhow you suggest vulgarity, I'm not in that, because I don't believe those things must do that.
Yes.
But the way the whole filming session was set up, and I was programmed and so on, and was able to live near to the set and be a part of it, and I knew the actors very well and so. And it was a very private shoot.
Yes.
There was the crew, everybody set up and split, because that's what Mr. Littlewhite said.
Yes.
So it was just us. So really I could put the rest of me aside and not worry about it, because I didn't think there'd be any aspect that he would catch that would embarrass me on the road. And after a while, you forget about that. You just think about the character and the story she has to tell,
Okay. So you went to Australia as well?
Yes.
Tell us a little about that.
I got a scholarship and went to Australia to study, and he insisted that I had to come with him.
Oh.
I didn't mind. It's just that we had to leave our children for a spell, 2 years actually.
Okay. And what did you do? What did you do in Australia?
Oh, all sorts of things. Got involved in theatre there too, radio theatre, schools programs there, school on air, because in some parts of Australia the children go to school by radio.
Yes.
So I got involved with all of that, did some television work, and then I worked as secretary to the systems engineer at IBM. And got introduced to computers and all of that. That was quite fascinating. And then I also got involved in the local theatre and quite a number of productions. For instance, when the Queensland Players was just formed, they invited me to be a member of that, and the production they did, Royal Hunt of the Sun, I had a lot of work to do, because the gentleman, the director, Brian Mason, he said, look, we don't know anything about that. They're very outgoing and athletic and so on, but they don't have a clue about the Indians, the Aztecs or the Incas or whoever. So if I can help. And so we started training sessions, and trust me, on opening night, when the curtain came up and they appeared, because there's a large cast, the audience cheered, because they weren't looking at young acting Australians or anything. They were looking at the Indians from South America.
Yes.
So I was happy with that sort of thing, and did other productions for them, The Owl and the Pussycat, and also The Merchant of Venice, which was a set book for that year, and the Queensland folks company did it, and I played Portia, and we went up and down the East Coast to perform, and got wonderful response, and then they filmed it, and those schools that couldn't come to the performances or anything, they were able to watch that. But it was fascinating. It was wonderful. And I had a little program where I could play Jamaican and Caribbean music and tell stories about the place and things like that, and it was very popular. ABC was pleased.
Yes. Now, in reflecting on the state of theatre in Jamaica, you're very versatile. You've done film, you've done television, you've done, plays, that sort of thing. You've even done Shakespeare, as you were just saying there. But in terms of the local theatre, there's a lot of roots plays. Do you think you fit in?
Wrong with that.
I know, nothing wrong, but I've never seen you do one, so do you think you would fit into that?
I don't know, maybe now I'm too old to find out, but don't say that there's too much. What we need is more of the other kind.
Yes.
But because of the cost of putting on production nowadays, I can't really curse anybody or go on too bad, because it is a reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes these other productions, you put up a Shakespeare is not a joke thing. or a Tennessee Williams or a Brecht or somebody like that. It costs money.
Yes.
So that if they do comedies and things to earn money and so on, you can't vex with that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I would love to see more because we had it then. Paul Methuen would put on an annual Shakespeare production in his garden on Hope Road.
Yes.
And people came. It was well attended, or we'd go to Montego Bay, and it would happen at Round Hill or wherever we could find the space.
Yes.
And people came out. In fact, we got very nervous going to the country to do Shakespeare because you couldn't miss your line because they could quote it back to you. So you had to know it and so on. But we had wonderful times here, and we were impressed and really touched by the turnout
Yes.
outside of Kingston. So I wish that could come back, or that even other places now could travel some more, because we did go about a lot. The facilities weren't ideal or anything, but we managed and created a kind of atmosphere. So now if they're cashing in on that, great. It's just that I miss that we don't have more productions from outside. Well, and in a sense I understand it, because we have developed some fabulous writers,
Yes. Yes.
and their stories are absolutely true and real, and we have the performers to put it across very well. So although I would like the other, I'm not going to knock what is happening now. I think it will change and perhaps go back a bit to that when we are able to foot those bills, because even pantomime now is not a joke thing to put on.
Yes. Yes.
Everything is terribly expensive, and sponsors will go for sports, not theatre. So our gifts are few and far between. You do have some companies or some firms who, in that regard, they're very generous because they want it to keep going and want it to grow and so on. So, I mean, you have your ups and your downs, but basically I think we are solidly there.
Yes.
And I don't mind Roots Place because that's how it all started. I can remember Ed Bim Lewis, that Bim and Bam team.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis, I was with him in a play called, oh Lord, I don't remember the name of the play, but it was from Trinidad, and he was playing, he was one of the cast members. And when he was telling us how he started and who helped him and so on, and we realized, yes, we are growing. Sometimes it's not as fast as we would like, or as grand as we would like, but we're growing. We are very much alive, and we have bands of talent in Jamaica. The productions that I have seen, let's say, in the last 6 or 8 months, we don't have no fret, that don't have no worry. We have some outstanding writers and performers and people who can give a little magic with the set and things like that. When I think of people like Glenn Campbell, Nadine Rawlins, Ruth O'Shea, those of us like Grace and myself and Barbara McCullough, let us say, we are the oldsters in the game.
Yes.
But it is fabulous to watch the young people who are coming up. Absolutely.
So finally, Leonie, you have done everything. You have written your book. I mean, which is the icing on the cake. I mean, everybody wants to write a book, and you have finally done it. So what more is there for Leonie?
Just to live and enjoy living and help wherever I can, whenever I can, whoever I can,
Yes.
in terms of theatre and all that sort of thing. Because I don't think I would ever retire from doing that unless I don't have any teeth or I can't talk. You know what I mean? Because even if physically...
So if you don't have no teeth, you can get false teeth. Come on.
Yeah, government issue. Yes, but it can let you down at peculiar times, so you don't want to rely on that. No, I know what you mean, though. Well, what I'm saying is I don't think I will ever drop out unless I have to, or I am unable to fulfill whatever it is they want me to do. Then they won't have to say anything. I will tell them, no, I can't manage it, because I do know.
All right. Leonie, it has been a pleasure talking to you. You have been one of my favorites. And
Thank you.
I have a picture of you up here. You're looking fabulous.
Oh,
So,
bless your heart.
so you take good care of yourself.
I will. Thank you so much, and I've enjoyed this very, very much.
All the best to you, and thanks again, okay?
Thank you, and all the best to you, too.
Good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.